And the first design problem most of us face is going into a building where we push or pull and we get it right the fourth time. In this particular shop, they know they have a problem, so they put push signs on the door. What's really odd is on the other side, there are hands, and they say pull. As a kid, I was always confused why there were square holes in the trees on roads. It took me a while to realize that it was the trucks that took care of it. I also found it strange that they put signs on the backs of fire engines that say keep back 150 meters, but you can only read it from about 20 meters. This is one of my favorites. This is in the East Coast, and this says if you have a dog that wants to do its business, get it to jump over the bin, do its business in midair, and miss. In other words, we're more familiar with this sign, which tells us everybody that we shouldn't walk on water. But seriously, all those images resonate with us because they have information. They are full of information. Everybody here knows what these are. But can you imagine what it would be like to meet an intergalactic alien who came down and said, well, what are these? You have to explain about skating and hockey. How would you explain hockey? And then you tell them, how do you skate? And most of us would get that wrong because so many people still think we melt the ice when we go through, which is not true, but that's another story. But this, everybody knows what this is. This is a tap. And we know roughly how to use it. We know how we would turn the knobs. We also probably know that if we had wet hands, they wouldn't turn very well. And we also know perhaps, does this one turn both the same way as the other one? We don't know. I'm also intrigued by probably one of the most versatile instruments we have. It doesn't come with even a sign that says middle C. It just says Steinway, and then an arrangement of notes, which conveniently helps us with the sharps and flats, and it has no information at all. So question, which is the odd one out? An apple, an orange, loaf of bread, bottle of shampoo, toothbrush, bicycle, you can read all that. Screwdriver, axe, chair, grand piano. So the answer, bottle of shampoo. Why? It's the only one that comes with instructions. Everything else, an axe, a chair, a grand piano, no instructions. In other words, they expect us to understand and learn that. We don't complain. This didn't come with instructions either. In the late 1960s, when we first saw the Earth from space, or we didn't, we saw the pictures, and the astronauts saw that, they described it as a semi-religious experience. And for them, it was a sign that this beautiful little blue planet was something really special, and a long, 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 long way from anywhere similar. Today on that planet, we have these kinds of problems. Huge problems, hard to deal with. These are design problems. These are our own problems. How do you deal with that? So what I want to talk about is how perhaps we can personally address some of these and think about some of those things, but in a slightly different way. About this time, we get leaflets in the mail, and I got the option. I can either pay some money towards getting some water to some kids in a village somewhere, or I can spend about the same amount of money and get myself a nice little device that will give me fizzy water forever. A necessity, a luxury. So we have a great deal of confusion and misunderstanding about those things. And we've done well. In the civilized world, we've removed drudgery, freed our time, air-conditioned and double-glazed ourselves. We're convenient, safe, comfortable as we live our lives at room temperature. We can rest comfortably on our sofa, our laptops and TV, ordering food to be delivered before heading off to the gym for a workout. And we're the only species that actually developed fitness equipment. And we've actually done it for mice and pigs. Guinea pigs, that is. So, in a way, I think if we look to the 20th century, I think historians might call it the synthetic century. The term man-made was invented very early in that time. And in the middle of that time, Louis Mumford and others said, I don't know whether that's the right thing. I don't think we are smarter than nature. And I think at the end of the 20th century, we realized we're not smarter than nature. The 21st century is up to us. How do we deal with it? But we know it's finite. We also know we've got to deal with issues of sustainability. And the Brundtland Report talks of development that meets the needs of those generations that come satisfy their own needs. Others, put it more simply, mean to act as if we want to stay around for a long time. So, question then, if we relate that back to the idea of images and information and what we see, giving us information and relating to that, I ask the question, what does sustainability look like? Historically, this was a drawing done in 1980, so it's about 30 years old now, and it shows there's 5 rows of evolution there. The evolution of a record player, the evolution of a washing machine, the evolution of a telephone, an alarm system, and weapons. And you can see they very quickly become sort of white things with buttons on. In the 30 years since then, the only thing we've done is remove the cords because they're all wireless now. And technology is often considered successful when it becomes invisible. And we are surrounded by what we think is a lot of invisible technology. Unfortunately, some of that technology, these old computers and all the cell phones and strange little clicky devices that we have in our drawers from products we've lost long ago, aren't invisible. And clearly we're making a mess. We're scarring things. We're not thinking about things holistically. So, question. If I found myself in Echoville on a dark and stormy night, how would I recognize it? You'd understand the concept of Echoville. It's just a word I invented. There's not a place. But it makes sense. It's a strange place to live. But I'd hope I'd want to live there. So let's look at some of the things that we might be thinking we might see there. We might see this symbol. And everybody thinks this is a recycled symbol, but it's a material identification symbol. But one thing about that is that Canada and North America produces more packaging waste per capita than any other country in the world. Yes, we're number one. We're number one. We're number one. There's lots of reasons for that. We've got resources, we have huge distances, etc., etc. We throw stuff out. We throw a lot of it. So maybe in Echoville we might not see this. Maybe we'll deal with it. Hopefully we wouldn't see some of things like this. This is an example, supposedly, of good design. The package on the right contains the same amount of sugar as the package on the left. It's easy, the one on the left is easier to pour. It stands nicely. The one on the right contains a third more paper. But the question is, do we need this sugar in our hot drinks? So, we also have this issue to try and help us, the notion of Encode Labeling. We've introduced that. Here's one such eco label. There are websites now that manage and look after and monitor all the eco labels we have. There's about 400 on the website currently. Is it good? What does it mean? It's got 3 doves and a bit of a flag, a maple leaf. It's good, we think. But more to the point, nature doesn't even have any labels. This scene is full of information too. Most of us looking at that would probably say, yeah, probably October. A healthy forest, diverse, deciduous, coniferous, probably healthy in habitat, no disease. There's a lot of information here. About 4 years ago, I was in Australia at a packaging conference, and I was asked to give a talk to motivate packaging designers. So I said that I think they should give a Lifetime Achievement Award to the orange. A great product in a great package. I was serious because sometimes we get too clever, or we think we're getting clever. There has been a movement towards this. The design nature, the nature of design, is being studied under the name of biomimicry. Dean Benyus is looking at how is there some bond, how is there some connection, can we make this connection? It's important to note, though, that nature isn't efficient. And I put there, everything in nature tries to take over the world every day in its way, although survival's good. But unlike us, everything it discards is either edible and predominantly non-toxic. So this is what I offer as a sort of a notion of what we should be aiming for in Echoville. It's simply about doing healthy things in healthy ways. If cycling is a healthy activity, then how do we facilitate it in a healthy way? How do we do with our roads? The 2 reasons why people don't predominantly cycle to work, apart from distance, is simply they don't have a safe place to load their bicycle, and they don't like the condition of the lane they're driving in. And that's the predominant reason. That's nothing to do with the bicycle. So, I offer you this. This is, some of you may be familiar with Maslow's hierarchy. And this is a little chart I use to help me sort of look at our activities. So we could put survival as being the importance of water there. And you can see I put a line under comfort. You can see how it's nice to have water, it's nice to have it safe water, it's nice to have water out of a tap, it's nice to be in your own home. Right? We get that. Then I get to the luxury, and that one gave me a problem. But Jamie Oliver, the English chef, helped me. He said that French fries are a luxury. They're a treat. Great to have now and again, but not every day. So in my head, I developed a couple of other ones. Bottle of champagne. Sometimes it's a really good idea to celebrate, but you shouldn't have champagne every day. And another one, the Olympics. I think it's a good idea every 4 years to get the athletes of the world together, hopefully in a reasonably green way, for them to compete and show their great grace and athleticism. And you can do that as a major achievement. These are treats. Treats perhaps that the world can afford. So my argument is, yes, comfort is good. But if you then move past that and look at some of the activities, some of the things we do, some of the ways we do it, we're getting close to abusive luxury, and we get very close to decadence, and danger, and potential disaster. So I use this as a kind of way of looking at those healthy activities, or how do we take an activity and make it healthy? And how do we make it relatable? So I just want to end with a kind of example of something that I like to carry with me, and hopefully you'll find it useful. It's the Blue Nose. Blue Nose got its own stamp. Now the Blue Nose was built for fishing. It was a good fishing boat in 1921. And it won lots of races, not all of them, but it won most of them. And it was built out of all local materials, a whole range of woods that were appropriate to be above water level, below water level. The sails, the ropes, everything was local. Except for the masts. They were Douglas fir and they came across the country. Now that's changed, and everything else now is more particularly local. The boat was moved around, and in the end it disappeared off the sea in Haiti in about 1946. When it disappeared, it didn't harm anything. It just disappeared in the ocean and probably was food for most things. But the interesting thing is, in a way, paralleling a way a technology could come in, I like to think of the sailboat, the yacht, as using natural energy, passing through the water, and when it's gone, the water quickly reforms, and you didn't know it was there. The energy source is good, and the end is just fine enough not to stagnate the water, if you like. Ironically, Blue Nose 2 was built the same way, and that was rebuilt as Blue Nose 3 now, on the same pattern. And I think it embodies many of those issues that we understand. Perhaps that's why someone had the wisdom to put it on the 10-stage coin. And hopefully that'll be a reminder for you. So, my closing slide is just simply, if we can learn to look a little more closely at our activities and lifestyles, and the products we think we need to support them, then perhaps we can learn how to naturally create an eco-bill where we'd all want to live on a very healthy, built blue planet.